Fight Time Network.
Welcome back to Fight Time Network. We got the first UFC pay-per-view of the year, UFC 311, coming right up for you, the main card. What's going on, Lee?
What's happening? We are one fight card removed already from 2025, and we are just keeping on rolling. Let's get it. UFC 311. Cannot wait. Fight week.
Let's go, baby. We're starting out opening the card with Kevin Holland for Day Ritter. Holland coming in 26-12, Ritter coming in 18-2, Lee. What do you think this is going to turn out? I didn't like Ritter's fight against Mariscar or the way he was looking. And Holland would have capitalized in those situations where he's very slow, not reacting very well. Mearscar was kind of coming in, he's just allowing it. It was a late knockout by Mearscar, right? Of Ritter to Mearscar in that fight. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, I could see your point with that. However, I think I have to go against Holland on this one. He's proven that he struggles with grapplers time and time again. He's got great jiu-jitsu, but a lot of it does come from the bottom. A lot of it does come from reaction and opportunity. But you never really see him forcing the grappling, which is basically all of the Ritter's game. So Holland is coming off a rib injury from when he fought Doltzis. And then also he's dealing with, unless he's spent his camp in Dagestan, I just don't see how Holland wins this if the grappling gets heavy. Can he knock the Ritter out? Most certainly. He's knocked Jacare Souza out off of his back. However, if the Ritter forces the takedown, if he forces them down to the ground, if he forces it to be a grappling match, I think he'll definitely get the best of Holland. He is a world-class grappler, De Ritter is.
I totally forgot he got knocked out by Delete. What happened? Knockout round 1-5. Did he just not come out of the corner?
Yeah, I think it was just a rib thing there. They called it because he messed his rib up. Yeah.
That makes sense now that I'm looking at it. I don't know what matters here because Kevin Holland does go for submissions too, but Mearscar was a submission artist and just really couldn't bounce back to him. You may be right here, but De Ritter did look very sloppy on his entries against Mearscar. Almost, I could maybe Holland catching him with the knee. Not necessarily. You can't really call it an upset here. It's minus 125 to plus 105. Ritter's considered a slightest in the world underdog here. I just didn't like the way he looked against Mearscar, and I'm not going to hop on his train until he shows me something that he just didn't get lucky against Mearscar. And Mearscar really looked like crap in that fight, too. He didn't look like he worked on his cardio great. He really didn't look in top form. I really feel like there was more that happened in his camp or something, and it just didn't go right. It's from what I kind of got from the fight.
Yeah, both those guys did end up looking up exhausted there. I remember cashing in on that one for not going the distance, and it almost did. But yeah, that arm triangle, and he was sloppy, but if sloppy to work out against a guy like Mearshart in terms of wrestling, and then you could probably get away with being a little bit more sloppier when it comes to Kevin Holland if your game plan is to take him down and utilize grappling to win. He's going to stand and strike with Holland, and we probably all both know where that one will go.
Yeah. So we'll just see what his game plan is, I guess. He might try to stand with him and get caught for a round and kind of see where he's at and test his waters. I'm going to leave it up in the air on that one. That's a pick 'em for you all. Be nice to get a pick on that. Put them in a parlay. Get one or the other. Get some good odds. It's kind of your underdog pick and don't have to go too deep. And then maybe a couple in the water. Moving on to Benet Dariush.
Or who knows, like with
go ahead, bro.
Who knows with anything happening with all the upsets that we saw, maybe Kevin Holland comes out with a world-class wrestling degree all of a sudden out of nowhere with what we've been seeing in the UFC lately.
Yeah. You can't really call him he's favored, so we can't really see he's an underdog. That's a pick'em fight, but that's just a nice one to add. Moving on. Benet Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Oh, baby, fireworks. Moicano's got the heat with him. Dariush coming off some tough losses. I don't know if Dariush got what it takes to stop Moicano, my friend.
Yeah, Moicano is on the rise. I mean, this is going to be a close fight, but I think Moicano still has that fire, while Dariush does not.
Mhm.
You got Dariush, he has a new child. He's asking where his Tesla is. And then you got Moicano, who wants to fight bad guys in America and is asking, where is my money? I think we got Renato Moicano. He's definitely going to come out and give us all what we're probably expecting.
I will agree with you here. I'm not calling an underdog win on this one. Unless Dariush catches him on the feet. I'm not even sure if Dariush is going to want to mess with him on the ground at all. Seen
Mm-hmm.
from his last fights, he's embarrassed St. Denis on the ground terribly. Got the back and came back and beat Turner. Drew Dober's a freak in grappling. Yeah, he did lose to Sanyo's 5 back, but I feel like this fire is starting. This fire is here to stay for Moicano, baby.
Absolutely. And just the fact that he could do the same technique to Benoit Saint Denis in that fight over and over and over again, keep on setting up that style of takedown off the kick again and again and again and again. Like Benoit Saint Denis is no slouch. He's no low level kickboxer or grappler, and just for him to find that technique, find that groove, and get it over and over again until he finds the finish is something to be said about Renato Moicano.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think Dariush is going to try to grapple with him, and his gas tank's going to go compared to Moicano. Just the fire
Mm,
he's gotten, his form and everything. He's
yeah.
not Dariush is just going to be able to bully him like he usually does with people on the ground when he gets in trouble on his feet. And Moicano's not going to stand there with you the whole time. He knows his goal. I take Moicano, and I feel like Dariush may make it through the 3 rounds. I'm going to take Moicano by decision here because there's a lot of hype with Moicano and Dariush. Big fight for both of them, but Moicano might kill him. We'll see, baby. Moving on to this banger coming
we
up.
all got to see that interview.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Moving on to this banger coming up. Yuri Prohaska versus Jama Hall slash trash talking, I guess, Hill now. Crying baby on social media, wanting talking shit, not wanting to back it up, Hill. Oh boy. Pretty much a pick 'em here in the odds. Minus 102 to minus 118. Prohaska coming off bad loss to Pereira after knocking out
Mm.
Rakik. And then Jamaha Hill also coming off a bad loss from who? Oh, Pereira. Oh, what do you know? Both of them didn't even make it out of round one. So nobody's really going to be able to take anything from their previous fights against these two from Pereira. Pereira did the same thing, just knocked them out in different ways round one. So,
Yeah. I definitely think it's Prohaska all the way in this one. I mean, other than Alex Pereira, the only person that Yuri Prohaska has ever lost to was in prime King Mo in 2015 back in Resin. And before that, I think I don't even know if the year had like a double digit for the 20 after he lost after that. Yuri Prohaska's got 26 KOs, and I know Pierre makes him look like he can't fight ultimately, but Pierre has been doing that to absolutely everybody. It's a shame that we never did get this fight when the title implications would have been there back when those two were wandering through the forest looking for each other, but they finally found each other, and we're going to get a good banger. But I think Yuri's definitely going to take it. He has all the abilities to finish this. So does Jamal, but I think
yeah. I feel like Jamal's head's already
this
other
is Yuri's
places,
fight.
man. Like straight up. I don't know what got in him through his social media, what hype he's trying to get, or what impression he's trying to make people have of him. Who knows? But when you go back and look at his wins, they both got a win over Texera. You got Santos. You did have him over Reyes, of Prohaska over Reyes. Jim And then for Hill, I mean, you did have Walker, which you never know with that. That's a
Yeah.
shot in the dark. Jimmy Crute, Santos Texera himself. The only thing they really have in common here is, man, Pereira. But I don't think Hill
Yeah.
will be able to have what it takes to not get knocked out in like the third round. Is what I would call. I think a late Prohaska knockout is what I'm gonna go with here. But we'll see.
Well, using Pereira as the common denominator, Yuri did last around longer in both fights than Jamal Hill
Yeah.
did. Jamal didn't make it out of the first, and Yuri got past the
Yeah.
first, a little less past the first and the second
30
one,
seconds
but
in.
nonetheless, he did make it through the first round.
That's true. I'm just gonna throw that garbage out. But what we're looking at here, y'all, for you who doesn't know these two at all, really what to expect on the stats, both these dudes are going to stand and bang. Both of them average under a takedown per 15 minutes. So averaging over 5 strikes per minute landed. 7.18 by Jamal Hill. Both hitting over 50% striking accuracy on their feet. This is going to be a stand and bang. Make sure you tune in for Prohaska Hill. Moving on. Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov in the co-main event of UFC 311. Lee, I've been waiting for this fight for the past year or two. Wasn't sure if Dvalishvili was going to lose and we were going to see it, or if this is how it was really going to be. Got another Nurmagomedov near the top, ready to get that gold around their waist against one of the best wrestlers, chain wrestlers in the UFC's probably ever seen, Merab Dvalishvili.
Team Dagestan, man, both of these guys are cardio machines. And, you know, we've seen it time and time again when usually you've got like two high-level grapplers. They tend to cancel each other out. It tends to turn into a striking match. And if that becomes the case, ultimately, it's got to go to Nurmagomedov. Usman certainly does have the better striking arsenal than Merab. However, we have seen Usman get a little bit of tired. Cardio has been a factor in some of his fights. You could see him fade just a little bit. An example of it could be in the Sandhagen fight, where there's none of that with Merab. So that could ultimately play a factor too. However, I think it's going to go what I just mentioned before. It's probably going to turn into the striking making the difference, where I think Usman's going to be able to find where he wants to go by using his hands and feet much more over than Merab will.
I'll agree with you there. This is actually a really tricky one because, like you said, Nurmagomedov, it has come a couple times where his gas tank just was not there. And Dvalishvili is going to bring it 4 or 5 rounds. Unless he somehow puts him to sleep, catches him in something. I'm really taking Umar on this one. It's kind of crazy. It's plus 260 for the champ, Lee. Plus 260. I don't remember where we were at. But what else? We're back again. Sorry, I had to get some water. But we're looking at here, Nurmagomedov has 100% takedown defense, man. Isn't that crazy? Against Sandhagen, Almacan,
Yeah,
Barcelos,
what a crazy
Yanez,
statistic that is to have. A 100% anything in the UFC is absolutely amazing. And yeah, that ultimately is going to play a factor because we know Merab's coming to take him down.
I just don't know who to take here. I'm going to leave this one up in the air. If I end up making a bet, I'll put it up somewhere. But I don't know if I can. Oh, man, this one's just so tight. Such big high stakes coming from a Nurmagomedov versus Merab. 18-0, 18-4. The hype behind this one is real, my friend. Oh, man, it's hard to take
Ultimate,
Nurmagomedov by decision because Dvalishvili is just not going to give up. I feel like if you want Umar, you want inside the distance.
yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it's Team Khabib, and he's got Islam to follow. I think that's probably going to be a major factor in that. Each time they get to the stool, he's going to figure out where Rob is leaving holes ultimately. And I mean, this Dagestani team, they're fabulous at adjusting their game plan on the fly and figuring out how to pull the W's out of the late trenches. So I'm with Umar.
I'll take it with you. And I may even go by decision because I don't see Dvalishvili getting finished, but I could see Nurmagomedov maybe surprising him with some takedowns and getting some top control to be able to control that time to where he doesn't have to risk it as bad. I go Umar by decision. Moving
And
on
man,
to
your
the main
track
event.
record for 2025 is
Man, our timing's off.
little slight delay. I was saying your track record.
Yeah.
Your track record for 2025 is absolutely astounding as it sits right now. So I mean, you're probably going to cash in on that one too.
We shall see. Moving on to the main event, UFC 311. Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. Islam coming in at 26-1. Tsarukyan coming in at 22-3. Yes, their first one was a unanimous decision lead, but it was a good scrambling match. Tsarukyan didn't get fully manhandled the whole time. How do you think this one's going to play out different than the first?
I think Islam is just constantly developing. He is probably en route to be one of the greatest greatest lightweights that we've seen in this division. He's definitely taken that from Khabib. Definitely going to be a high level grappling affair, but I mean, we've seen Islam show cards that we never thought that he would do before. I mean, Volkanovski knocks him out with the head kick. The strength behind that man is just crazy. And I mean, ultimately, Tsarukyan, he has been on a run, but ever since he dropped that one to Gamrot, there are some holes that I think certainly Islam will definitely expose, whether it's on the feet or in the grappling. I don't think Tsarukyan is the answer to Islam. I think Makhachev ultimately will hold on to that title probably till pushing 2030. And I certainly believe that the skill set to beat Islam Makhachev not developed yet and is not under contract. Fun fact, though, the last guy the only guy for that matter to hand Islam Makhachev his loss got KO'd by Donald Cerrone in the first round by a head kick.
No kidding.
Adriano Martins was the only guy to ever hand a loss to Islam Makhachev.
Left hook, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That
Caught
is
him
an
early.
interesting fact. Good stuff, Lee. I see this kind of playing out as the first one did, and maybe even Makhachev getting a, fourth round, fifth round finish to where Tsarukyan really hasn't been able to train for going down that level with Makhachev, kind of how he's been putting it down. And Makhachev doesn't have to just rely on his wrestling at all. He's shown and proven over and over, knocked out Volt. Like he's changing. Like you said, he's adapted and he's already so far ahead of everybody in his weight class. Nobody has the tools that is going to be able to catch this man. He may rule this weight class till he retires if he does it correctly. So I would go fourth or fifth round Makhachev. And it could be knockout, could be submission.
Yeah.
That was my thought. All right,
Yeah.
is that all you got, Lee?
And you look at it like
Nope, keep
at
going.
the end of the fight. At the end of there's a little bit of a delay there, but we're working with it. Working with it. When he had, or when Charles had him in that darce at the end of it, I mean, Islam gets you in the darce, or if he gets you in that arm triangle, like he is squeezing. There's no hanging out there for you. It's ultimately going to be a finish, man. That guy's like a gorilla crushing a watermelon. That's going to be Tsarukyan there if he ends up in that position where we seen him end up with Charles Oliveira. So there's no riding it out with Makhachev.
I'm gonna agree with you
So
100%.
you'll have to mind his P's and Q's. He's gonna have to come. He's gonna have to come full tilt with a game plan that we haven't seen from him before. Will be an entertaining grappling affair, but Makhachev's just gonna wear on him eventually if it even gets past the first couple of rounds.
And there you all have it. There is your breakdown for UFC 311 coming up this Saturday, pay-per-view, stacked card. If you want to watch mixed martial arts, this is one not to miss. That's another episode on Fight Time Network. See y'all next week.
Catch you later.
Fight Time Network.